Hi everyone. So this is day 4 of the Facebook video live challenge. So welcome everyone who is here. So today I'm going to talk about number 3 of my list that you'll find on my freebie and Go Get Inspired By. So check out my website, gogetinspiredby.com. You can download the freebie. I have posted the links above, so please don't hesitate to do that. So if you guys were with me yesterday, I said that number 2, which was tips on having some visual writing prompts, and that is to try and help you to clear your mind, get unblocked, get unstuck if you're having a moment of writer's block or no inspiration and things like that. So I talked about that yesterday. So if you didn't catch that video, it should still be on my page, so have a look there for number 2. So today is a continuation with the getting unblock, getting unstuck, and that is number 3, storytelling is key. So if you have your point, if you know what you want to talk about, but you don't know exactly how to get your point across, tell it like a story. I keep seeing this time and time again now, more than ever, all over the internet, that in order to, get either it's extra followers or get reliable clients or people who trust you or people to read your work, storytelling is super important. So that is really big. Can't stress it enough. I've seen it so many times. Okay, storytelling is key, so I need to include it on this this list that I have here. So let's see who is here. I have Anna. Hello, Anna. And I have Kelly. Hello, hola. So yes, this is number 3 of my list of creative or expert tips to creative writing. So main thing is giving the details to your ideas, going into the what's it called, the meat of your story, of your experiences that you want to tell. So how do you do that? So one thing you can do is to close your eyes and imagine that you're in the situation that you want to explain. Imagine that you are living or reliving your experience as it's happening in real time. One thing that's important when you're trying to get a point across is to talk using the present time or the present tense. So really imagining yourself there in present time, reliving the situation, the experience, is really important, and it will be easier for your readers to grasp your ideas and to really put themselves in the picture as well. Another thing to do with storytelling is, okay, so you're picturing yourself, you're imagining where you are, what you're doing, so action words are really important as well. Using that ing endings really helps to draw in and pull in your readers for wanting more. And also making sure that you remember the 5 senses, okay? So imagine what you are seeing around you, if there's any specific smells around you. Let's see, is there any food and drink involved for taste? If you can hear any conversations around you, what are people saying? What are you saying? Or what is the person or people you are with saying to you? Are you holding something? Are you touching something? Are you sitting down? So you're really incorporating those 5 senses into your writing so that people can really relate to you, get pulled into your story, get pulled into the details that you are giving. No matter if it's a novel, an article, a self-help book, what else, a newsletter, but storytelling is always important. So starting it could even be your live video, starting with a story, it always pulls your listeners and your readers in. I was going to start with a story, but I kind of just jumped right in. So, for example, I can tell you, so this weekend, and so if you are linked with me on Instagram, you might have seen my story on Instagram, and it was depicting what was going on last night. And it's my story. So I'm going to go into the details about that story. Let me just look at the comments really quick here. Anna asks, how can she become more descriptive of the place? Her background is in journalism, so she's trying to say the story in the least amount of words. Well, again, using the ing words, being in the action form, can be still short and sweet to the point, but it's still giving you that action, and it can still pull in your readers, I think. What else can I say? More descriptive of the place? Well, your surroundings. So you can mark where you are, where you're standing, what you are doing in that moment. What else? It can still be short. You can still get your point across. You can still get your story across in the shortest words possible. So you might have to stay tuned for tomorrow, so I can. You're getting into my next video, my next detail for tomorrow. So you have to stay tuned. But really using those ing words, using where you are, location, and also those senses. You can really, in 5 words, 5 to 10 words, you can talk about what's going on, where you're doing, what you're seeing. So always thinking about the who, what, where, why, when, and how. Sweet. Oh, I'm sorry if my connection just went off, but I'm still here. Everyone's still here? All right. Yes, I'm keeping you hooked for the next video, Anna, but I hope what I'm telling you today is helpful. So, but good question. So going back to my story so if you've seen me on Instagram last night, I did post a few things in my story, and I did it in the sequence in particular because I was telling you a story, but it was really short and sweet as well and to the point. So Anna, if you're not connected with me on Instagram, have a look at my story, and maybe that can help you see how I wrote in short sentences and got my point across still. Of course, I do have visuals, but still I think what I wrote can get my point across as well. So my story is, so last night it was about, what time did we start our journey? So we were visiting my boyfriend's grandparents in Tours, and so we live about 3 hours driving from Tours, and we took the train this time because we thought that maybe the weather would be worse than it was. It was okay, but anyway, we took the train. So we got to the train station quite early. We got there at 6. Our train was at 7. So we waited. We had a drink in the local cafe right next to the station. And then our journey began. So the first train, perfectly fine, but it was really slow, and it arrived at 15 minutes past the time it was supposed to get to Nantes, which is near where I live. So we missed our connecting train, and we had to stay an extra 2 hours at the train station to waiting, playing the waiting game. So I was not getting frustrated because that is just the French way of life with the train station on a Sunday night. Students are coming back to their city that they're going to school in, and so people it's just the way it is. But you can see on my story that I took pictures of the time. So I'm telling you what time it is, still waiting. So an hour later, still waiting, and then boom, finally we're on the train home, but it's like 11 o'clock when we're finally getting on the train. So we finally got home, and then we had to walk another 15 minutes from the train station to get home. But we're home, and everything's good, everything's fine. So just to give you an example of my story that I have on Instagram and how I depicted that. Short and sweet, because I think I used 5 or 6 pictures, but I still used some text, and it was to the point, and showed you that, okay, you saw my feeling, you saw what was going on. I don't even have a picture of myself in the story. It's just showing you, okay, this is my situation and this is what's going on. So hopefully that example can help you in your writing as well, if you need it to be short. Anna, if you need a short description, short and sweet, to the point, like I said, sight, sounds, taste, smells, what you're around, what you're holding, touching, things like that, just to the minimum if necessary, if you're doing like an article. Let's see, any other questions? No questions at the moment. So that's my example. So as I said, again, using these kind of techniques of your 5 senses, and also the ing and also the present tense, will help you to hook your readers, get them to read more and more, get them to come back to your writing. And I hope when you do close your eyes and imagine yourself in the situation or where you are, what you want to describe, I hope that will help you to get unblocked, to really help you clear your mind, get back to the flow of writing, and yeah, getting your story out there and getting it done. So these are writing tips, but like I said, I used these as well for Instagram, and I also used them in, of course, my story that I'm telling you now. So I was picturing what I was doing, where I was at, what I was doing, things like that. Let's see, Anna's asking, can you write with such precision in all the languages you know? That's a good question. I've never been asked that before. You know what? In English, because that's my native language, I am the most descriptive, that's for sure. The second language that I know the most is Spanish. And so in Spanish, I think I can get short and sweet to the point. I think I can do it pretty quickly, yeah, better than English. If I need it short. The next language I speak is Portuguese. I think it's the same as Spanish. It's quite similar in the descriptive area and conjugations and verbs and things like that. So I would definitely be using more present tenses and keeping it short. As for French, my 4th language, well, it's quite a descriptive language, so I'm not, it's even longer than English, so I don't think I could make my point. I mean, I could try, but it wouldn't be the same way as I could do it in Spanish or Portuguese, and it would still might be a little longer than English, but that is à la française. That is the way the French like it. And if you want to have a comparison of the French language, it's kind of like British English, where it's more formal and you kind of have to go around in a circle a little bit to get your point across, especially if you need to be like more formal or more like giving an article, that kind of thing, more in a formal language. But that's just the way French is. I mean, there are shorter ways that you can do it with informal language, but that's more speaking wise. That's not so much in your writing. French writing is quite formal, just like British English writing. So good question. What did Anna say? She says, now é igual ao español. She's talking about Portuguese. Okay, well, I'm talking about the conjugation and a little bit of the expression, because I learned Portuguese quite fast. I had been speaking Spanish at that time for over 10 years. So learning Portuguese, I learned it in about 4 months, pretty fast. And so I feel like I can mix them together. But you're right, maybe Portuguese is a little bit more expressive than Spanish. But yeah, that's a good question. I need to think about that some more. So thank you so much. That was a good question, getting me thinking. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're on replay, thank you for coming in and having a look at my stuff later on. I really appreciate it. Please leave your comments, questions in the comment section below. Please get your freebie of what I'm talking about here. Again, today was number 3, storytelling is key. Yesterday was a preview of also and a connection of today, and yesterday was visual writing prompts. So those are to help you get unblocked, get you writing, get your creative juices flowing again, and getting your point across. All right, stay tuned for tomorrow. It's kind of a continuation. So Anna, I'm sorry you have to wait, but I hope all of these together, they are all connected together. They're all mixed together. So they all will help you in one way or another. All right, so have a good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. So bye.